I was struggling, even though I was working out, I wasn't losing weight. Um, I was actually gaining weight. And it was a bit frustrating to be going at the treadmill and the weights really hard and then not seeing results, right? Definitely one is strength. I think even though I've worked out before, I feel the strongest now. Irony, I'm thinking back, I was younger, I used to work out and I'm stronger now. So, Julissa, I'm 45 and I think I started your program back in February. We're now in August, so that was about 6 months. Um, and where I was struggling, even though I was working out, I wasn't losing weight. I was actually gaining weight. And it was a bit frustrating to be going at the treadmill and the weights really hard and then not seeing results, right? The other, me thinking I'm also getting older, am I missing something? And I knew it was my nutrition. And I knew I needed some education on that as well. And that's when I looked into your program and it looked pretty promising as far as what you were saying. It was in line with what I was looking for.
Okay. So you're obviously not a newbie to workouts or anything like that. You had a lot of experience under your belt. So could you like even break down like what were your exact like struggles or numbers or even symptoms that you were dealing with, whether it's like the weight, the inches, the energy, sleep, any lapse that you remember from 6 months ago like when you started?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I literally gained 10 pounds. So I went from 175 to 185.
Hmm.
And I was I didn't know why. I was sticking to my, you know, diet that I had done on legwork on my end, knowing my health condition and staying away from carbs, rice, pastas. I was doing the same thing that I've been doing for the past maybe 10, 15 years, but I was going nowhere. My sleep, it was very interrupted. I wouldn't have a night's sleep. It was constant waking up and I didn't feel rested. I still pushed through. I just got used to that. And as far as my body, although I was working out, I didn't feel that energy that I know I felt before. Something was obviously telling me something's wrong.
Yeah. Like you're putting in all that effort, not seeing a reward for the efforts. Okay,
Yes,
so break down a little bit about like, what you've tried before. So you mentioned the workouts, you did the workouts, you've done nutritional changes. Have you worked with coaches and trainers or any structured program or anything like that in the past?
I have just with workout trainers, not someone
Yeah.
that would offer nutrition as well. You can name it, do cardio. I love cardio. I love to run.
Yeah.
That's like I don't know, I just check out. That's my meditation time. I love weights and I don't like going to the gym, so I do my own thing at home. I feel like I waste more time in the gym than workout. And I try to integrate different things like jumping rope, doing, I forget the name of it. I love the rope exercises where it's just your arms, your upper body. I forget the name of it. Or walks, hiking. I like to hike in nature when I can. I'll do that as
Mm.
well. As
Okay.
far as foods, I'm sensitive, insulin resistant. I have that tendency. So I do have to stay away from anything that will turn into glucose, which is obviously sugars, but specifically grains. Anything that has like potato, rice, like I said before. I know that I'm sensitive, and that was my one of my worries. I was wondering if maybe that was getting worse for me, and then that will lead into a more complex health concern on my end.
So that the insulin resistance was a big, I know we talked about that. So tell me a little bit more about like day in the life. What did that look like? I know, was it the clothes was uncomfortable? I know you said you gained 10 pounds for putting in the effort. Like what made you say like, okay, enough is enough. Like it's time to make a shift.
When I saw my scale going up more, beyond 185, I said, "Oh, I can't do this anymore." I
Okay.
said, "No, my clothes." I was frustrated. There was these pair of pants that I had like dared myself to I guess challenge and say I'm gonna fit into these nicely, and they were not. They were just not even going anywhere. And just me, I didn't feel good. I felt lethargic, tired, and I know working out is supposed to give you this energy boost as well. I wasn't feeling that even at all.
And then you were like, okay, let's make this shift. So, I mean, we obviously we had our conversation, the initial consultation, we had the blueprint call, but I mean that's usually the point where some people say yes, but also some people say no. So, what made you almost say no? Whether it's like time, money, hormones, doubt. What do you think almost made you say no? And like even with that, made you say, like, okay, yeah, let's just do it, or made you feel like it's the right move?
It was mostly the money. I didn't know first. I didn't know the how much it would cost. Um, and I was expecting a lot more. Not to say you don't charge enough. Um, but it was, I make my money, but at the same time, it's like I have to think about it. I had other expenses as well. But at the end of the day, I thought this was my reasoning. Okay, this is how I check myself. I either invest this amount of money and try to do it in a healthy fashion, or I was even thinking this of like doing like lipo or some type of surgery. And I thought that's like, I don't know, 100 plus more on top of what he's offering. I'd rather do this route. Let me try this out. That's how you could say desperate I was at that point.
Hmm. You're like, all right, something's got to go. So with that, obviously you made a decision. So people probably gonna be thinking like, okay, what happened? How did her life change? So let's talk about like what shifted from where you started now. Let's kind of do it in phases because if you remember, we did it in phases. So like the
Yeah.
first 3 to 4 weeks, what did you notice in the first 3 to 4 weeks? And then we can go like that. So like the first 3 to 4 weeks, as soon as you joined, after you committed, what changes did you notice?
Instantly, I realized my food habits were just horrible. I didn't have the right food habits. And I know you sent, and although I had done my own legwork to understand what kind of foods I should have in my diet, when you sent the menu or the recipe book, it opened up a whole nother option for me that was outside of any like carb-based type of food, as well as understanding how little protein I had in my diet. I had no idea that I was not eating enough protein at all. Yeah.
Yeah, it gave you a huge amount of awareness of like nutrition, especially because you already had a good background of knowing food and it kind of like expanded it. So let's talk about 6 weeks and beyond. So whether it's like the physical changes, inches, the pounds lost, or let's even talk about the whole experience. What is the big shift that you noticed from when you started till now? Whether it's like the inches, the weight, strength, PRs that you've accomplished, sleep, like kind of share a little bit about that.
Definitely one is strength. I think even though I've worked out before, I feel the strongest now. Irony, I'm thinking back, I was younger, I used to work out and I'm stronger now. It's kind of backwards, but that's okay. I'll take it.
The method works.
Um, the other was um, I had to relearn my, you can say, understanding of my body and when I was actually hungry, uh, what foods I actually needed or wanted. I was just taking in because it's there. I come from home, I'm tired, I don't feel like doing anything. I'll just take that today. And my body was telling me or screaming like, no, we don't want that today. You need something else. You need maybe more protein, or maybe today you need more carbs or fiber. Was completely checked out of what my body was asking for. The other piece that I feel is once I started to see, the inches come off and obviously the pounds come off, I wondered, can I lose more weight? Can I continue going down this road and see how far I can go to a healthy balance, of course. Um, because I had never been anything lower than 160 in my life. And that was a true test for me. So when I saw 155, I'm like, I can't do it. I can do this. And of course, I'm getting the compliments where they're asking me, "What are you doing? You lost weight and you look good or you're glowing." That external feedback also helped as well.
That's beautiful. So talk about that from 155. Where was the starting? Because he's mentioned like 180 was the heaviest, and then so about 35 pounds. And then talk about the coworkers or family or even doctors visits. What shifted in like your day-to-day experience? And you mentioned that someone noticed that you were glowing, that you look different. What other kind of conversations did you see having happen within our time?
I got friends asking me, what are you doing? Did you do anything? Are you doing like Ozempic or are you doing it? And I said, no, I'm not doing any of that stuff.
Not at all.
No, I said it's all literally watching what I eat, and I explained them a little of what I was doing, and they got, some of them were curious. They asked me for your information, and I shared it. The other part was um, not just like friends and family, but my doctor. I had a doctor's visit, and she was like, "I'm proud of you. You look great, and you lost quite a few pounds." And it was reflected in my blood work and my annual physical that my levels were well within range, if not in a very not low too low, but right at this decent low range.
So
Yeah,
from when you started and then till now, they've improved the
right.
level. Okay. So then, all right, so that's beautiful. So we're dropping pounds, we're dropping inches. We've gotten stronger than we've ever been, right? You've been working out for many, many years, so you have a good baseline of strength. So we increased the strength, which is very important, obviously, in this phase, 40s and 50s, having that lean muscle mass, that's strength. And then obviously your doctors, friends, and family are noticing. So let's talk about you personally, though, right? So I like to say, remember, if you remember, like a lot of the mindset coaching work that we did is like there's an identity shift to that 2.0.
Mm.
So, from your experience, from how you used to make decisions or think about things, or like the mindset you had before joining till today, who are you today compared to like when we first started? What shift have you noticed?
I'm very conscientious of what I'm going to put in my body, or even the time that I'm going to give myself as downtime. My tea, my chamomile tea has to happen every night. That's like my little, you can say 15-minute window of just winding down, having my tea, giving myself more time to rest and really respecting when I'm hungry, when I'm tired. Um, I've realized and learned that when I get irritable, it's because either I'm tired or I haven't had my own me time, and I'll default to food easily as a source of like dopamine fix. That's the other thing I've learned. The dopamine fixes that I tended to go into were constant snacking,
Mhm.
and specifically on the crunchy chips. I love like peanuts and dry almond or almonds as well. So these things started to get a little more, or I started to become more aware of these, I should say. The other thing that yeah, again, going back to that whole thing, or thought that I'm I've never been anything lower than 160. I thought it, I know you talk about 2.0, but I then kind of did my own little workaround and thought of what if I'm actually meeting my actual self? I never got a chance to actually meet myself, and I want to do that. So that's what kept me pushing. I'm for the first time meeting the real me. That's the mindset that I came up with as I was moving through the program.
That's powerful. It's unbecoming who you aren't to become who you've always been. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
powerful. So, I mean, with that identity shift, with the mindset, the way you make decisions shifting, what non-negotiables or standards do you live by now that you didn't have like as consistently in place before we worked together?
I have to, well, I've taught myself that it's okay to eat and splurge every now. I love French fries, right? I love French fries. I can
Wait, so
never say no.
you're saying that you can get in shape and still eat the food? People are not going to believe that.
Um,
Yeah.
I gave myself French fries when I felt like I wanted, but being cognizant of you don't eat the whole batch of French fries, the serving portion. Give myself enough where I feel that satiation. I also, the non-negotiable is I want to feel fulfilled by what I'm having as far as a meal. So if I start going down the drain, and it's not to say that the work stops, it's an everyday thing, you're gonna reach for those bag of chips or the bag of almonds because it's right there and it's an easy fix and it's everywhere, right? You have snacks at work, snacks at home if you don't buy them. But to teach myself and say, no, I want to sit down, have a meal, and feel fulfilled rather than just take a quick bite and then continue going. That's my like main point of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like I have to stop and get my actual meal rather than go fish for something that's going to be a quick fix.
And if we could even come down to the root of it is giving yourself that love that you give to others, giving yourself that patience to like, let's
Yeah.
pour into ourselves with good nutrition. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to pour into ourselves and
Hmm.
then get back into the hustle and bustle or whatever the day demands. Okay, beautiful. So then what would you say, right? Because there's going to be a woman who's similar to your starting point in her 40s, maybe 50s, juggling career, some maybe with like family, some with schooling, others traveling, but they're stuck like how you were. Like they're putting in the effort, so they're not like lazy or they're not like lacking willpower. It's just like what they used to do isn't working as effectively, or they're just pushing, but they're not getting the outcome. What would you tell to her if she was like in the same position?
Well, it's obvious that there's self-care behind that because if they're already doing something for themselves, like working out or conscious at to a certain point about what they're doing and taking care of their body or their nutrition. Um, but what I would say is we also have to look at how we evolve, and that may not always be the solution. It's going to change, and there's nothing wrong with expanding on that self-care, that self-love, and seeking for support or guidance because we don't know it all at the end. And why not make your life easier and get someone else's input that has more experience or knowledge and give you that feedback. Because I'm guilty of wanting to do everything on my own. That's my one of my issues. And I get that. I think that comes with sense of responsibility of yourself. But sometimes we do need to reach out and get someone else's support to get there.
Yeah, that's powerful. It's like letting go of needing to have all the answers all the time and being able to
Mhm.
get that support to get to that next level. What got you here may not get you to that next level. So then,
Right.
um, if you didn't say yes, though, when you did, where do you feel like you would be right now if you continued how it was 6 months ago and it kept going? Where do you feel like you would be now?
Probably still revolving on trying to understand my nutrition, trying to find a way to fix it myself and not being as efficient as I could be because I lacked and I'm in the field of psychology and I know about dopamine and epinephrine and all these chemical brain activity that happens. Never did I even make the connection of how food can be a quick dopamine fix. And how that was actually I was playing into that with my food. So I would have still been in that dark, in that spinning cycle of the same information. I wouldn't have moved forward. I don't think so.
Yeah. So why do you feel like having that direct support from you coaching the one-to-one or the holistic system, why did that finally make this sustainable for you? Because it's one thing to, drop the fat, get the labs in order, inches down, stronger. Let's talk about the sustainability. How did the one-to-one support or the access you've got in a holistic system, how did that really make this more sustainable?
So I think the tools you offer are pretty easy to use. Um, and you can integrate it on your day to day. Um, and that keeps you accountable. And that's the other part. If you're investing in this, you're going to want to keep yourself accountable. You can have all the tools in the world, but if you don't feel like you're going to keep yourself to some degree responsible for what your choices or what you're doing or not doing, then it's not going to work. So, um, I think making sure we know how to use the tools. I know you do a good job of getting all that ramped up in the beginning in the launching of the program. It does take time to sit and understand it. I was kind of a little overwhelmed in the beginning, but once you get the hang of it, you're fine. Smooth sailing.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so I want to kind of give this, I'm more than grateful to be on this journey with you, seeing your transformation from, where you were, from all the effort and just how I always say, it's like you had a good map, you were on the map in the right setting, the right location, but then you didn't have the GPS coordinates to get from point A to point B. So it's like if you were on a different map, that would have been a whole different ordeal, but you're on the map, you knew about the value of like the mindset, the nutrition, the exercise. You knew like, okay, putting in effort, you get an outcome. It's just putting all that down, all the information you already had in a streamlined approach. And then that's what really I see, at least from my perspective, I've seen the biggest breakthrough for you. So I guess like what last things would you want to share, or maybe some like aha moments that you had in experience or anything that comes to mind before we wrap up here?
Aha moment would be how I had such a wrong understanding of food. I was scared of food. I was scared of eating, and I would tippy toe around, oh, I shouldn't eat that because that's fat, or I shouldn't have this because it's carbs. And I guess you get so overwhelmed with so much information coming at you. Well, what's good, what's not. I mean, you could see some videos showing that everything's bad, right? Water is bad for you. So it's like it does something to the psyche unconsciously. I didn't realize how fearful I was of food. And I'm supposed to know how to feed myself, right? And how do you do that with this messages every day? So my aha moment was like, why am I afraid of food? What what's going on? Well, I should eat this comfortably and not feel like I just gained 10 pounds because I had a bite out of a pizza.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty shocking to me as to my understanding and my relationship with food was needed to change drastically. It wasn't allowing me to fulfill myself with nutrition or things that I felt like I wanted to have because I was pitted against, oh, that's bad for you, or that's going to give you diabetes, or that's going to give you this. And it's like, what do you do in a world when you're inundated without too much information?
Mhm. Analysis paralysis, information overload. We're able to cut down
Mm.
that noise and then eliminate the food noise because now you're not demonizing food, right?
Right.
So this was amazing.